Hey everybody, Purple Druid here, and I want to go over a quick and simple method for setting up a campaign region. If you wanted to start a new campaign and you're kind of stuck for what to use for your map, you don't really know how to get things started, I have a very simple method for laying out the large-scale terrain and then throwing down a few of the major population centers. So what you're going to need is a deck of cards, just regular cards. You will need 10 dice, 10 six-sided dice in 3 different colors, 6 of one, and 2 each of 2 other colors. And then we're going to use some percentile dice too. And we are going to use the Dungeon Master's Guide for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons to lay out the settlements once the terrain has been established. And there are some very simple rules right back here in Appendix B, Random Wilderness Terrain. You can see here that there is a 16% chance that any given hex will be inhabited with a settlement of some sort or ruins. So if you look at the math, you can see that there's a 1% chance for a town, 1% for a city, 3% for a castle, and 2% for ruins. That's all we're going to really worry about at this scale, because we are looking at a fairly good-sized chunk of land. And to do this, we're going to use an 11 by 17 piece of paper where 1 inch equals 25 miles. And then you can later transfer the basic terrain outlines to hex paper at whichever scale you prefer. This gives us an area of 275 miles by 425 miles, which is about 16,000 square miles. I'm sorry, 116,000 square miles, which is about the size of New Mexico in the United States or Italy. It's about a little more than twice the size of England. So this is a pretty good sized piece of terrain. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these cards and we're going to throw down cards across the paper like so. And this will determine the type of terrain. Clubs will indicate mountains. Spades will indicate rugged hills. Diamonds will indicate open territory that is more dry. And hearts will indicate open territory that is more fertile or more well-watered, so more lush. So your deserts will be here, and your forests and farmlands will be here. So let us take our cards and we're just going to shuffle these up real quick. Whoops. I am not an expert at cards, that is for sure. All right, so we'll take these, we'll cut them, and then we're just going to start up here and lay down cards on the map. And I'm going to move over here to make this a little bit easier. Don't mind the writing on the cards. That writing is for when we play Fistful of Lead. We use cards for activation, and some of the cards have special rules. So what do we have? One. Oh, I got 2 there, don't I? Oh, that's a joker. We don't need that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's do 3 rows of 7. That should be enough. Or do we want to do 4? Let's do 3. Let's do 4. What the heck? We'll scoot those up a little bit. This will give us a little more variety. throw these down. Okay, so this is our basic layout, and as we said, clubs are mountains. Now, this is the western edge, and as the prevailing winds are generally from the west on an Earth-like planet, which is what we're going for to keep things easy for time purposes and seasons and weather and what have you. So drier lands will be on the eastern side of the mountains, generally speaking. So everywhere we have a mountain, we want to make sure that we don't have hearts. So, okay, here we have hearts. So we're going to switch these two. And here's a diamond. That looks good. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and pick these up one at a time. And what I'm going to do is I will take a pencil. Just for sake of example here, we're going to do heart. Can you see that? Yeah. All right. So we're going to draw a little heart there, and we'll pick up all these cards and make a little note as to what type of terrain it is. All right, so that gives us our basic terrain, and now we can draw in our mountain ranges. So we have a mountain range that runs like this. We have a mountain range that runs something like that. Some mountains here. Do you have any more clubs? No. Okay, so then we have low hills here. So we'll draw in some hills. And then where we have the hearts, that is where our more fertile land will be. So those will be more like lowlands. And then we'll probably have deserts here. So this is actually definitely going to be a desert because it's kind of separated off. So we'll make this, that'll be our desert symbol. Again, here, this will be dryish. And let's make this dry over here as well. Okay, that was easy enough. Now, 11 by 17 paper, 1 inch is 25 miles. So that's going to give us 11 hexes, as it were, in that direction, 17 hexes in this direction, for a total of 187. As we saw on the chart here, a 1% chance of a town, a 1% chance of a city, and then a 3% chance of a castle. So 1% of 187 is 1.87. We'll call it 2. So that means we're going to have 2 towns, 2 cities, and 6 castles, and 4 ruins on the map here for the current day inhabitants. And what we're going to do is we're also going to go back into history, and we're going to roll for the people who lived here before the current inhabitants. We'll say that they lived here around 500 years ago or something like that, and then something happened and they left, and now we have the current inhabitants. So, towns, 2 red dice for the towns, cities, 2 green dice, and for our castles, we will have 6 blue dice. Also, because there's a 16% chance that any given hex is inhabited, we're going to give each of these a 1 in 6 chance that it is a location from the previous civilization. So anything that comes up a 6 will be a location that was inhabited by the people that were here first. Okay, so castles are blue. So we have a 6 here. We're going to put a castle there with a 6 in it. We'll put a little circle with a 6. We'll put another circle here. We'll put another circle here. Another circle here. Another circle here. And this is a castle with a 6. So that one was also inhabited. Now, none of the towns or cities were previously inhabited. I don't have a green pen handy, so I'll use a black one. So here we have a city, which we'll do as a black C. And then a black C there. And then for red, we have a town here and a town here. Okay, so that is for the current population. Now let's go back 500 years and see where the previous people were living. And yeah, okay. So I'm just going to roll these dice out. Throw them out randomly. Now, these are all going to be ruined locations. So we'll do the castles as a blue circle with an X through it. And none of these are 6s. So that means that none of these were inhabited by any prior. Oh, that town was. Or city. Green City. Now this is a ruined city, but actually this city belonged to the previous people who lived there even longer ago. And that's a ruin. And then this is a ruin of a town. And all of these ruins will be our adventure locations later on. Now, let's go back even further and find out if anybody lived before that. We're going to cut this in half. So we're going to do 3 blue dice, 1 red, and 1 green. And this is going to be for a humanoid race that lived here first, before any humans did. However, something terrible happened to them, let's say 1,000 years ago, and their civilization was wiped out. So these will be their ruins. And 3 of them wound up being inhabited by the humans who came later and are now abandoned as ruins. So that'll have 2 layers of ruins. So we have our humanoid ruined town, and we're going to do 2 layers there. And then we have a humanoid castle here with 2 layers, and a humanoid castle here with 2 layers. And we have a humanoid castle here, ruin. And then finally here we have a humanoid city ruin. All right, so there we go. We have a very simple schematic that did not take very long at all. We're at 1730 right now. And so here we have a very simple schematic of the geography of our campaign region, as well as current settlements and historic sites that are places where our intrepid adventurers may find adventure and gold and danger. So there you go. All you need to do at this point now is fill in the map a little bit with rivers and perhaps forests. You can do that however you like. Do keep in mind that your settlements tend to be on rivers, so I would go ahead and draw in the mountains first, and then the hills, and then add some rivers that flow through your existing settlements and possibly past the ruined settlements. And then pick one, and that will be your starting spot. Or if you want to start in an even smaller than a town, maybe a village or a hamlet or a thorp, something along those lines, you certainly can. Just go ahead and transfer this to a hex map of your choice, however big you want those hexes to be. And then you can start to detail things out as the campaign progresses and as your party of adventurers or parties of adventurers travel about. That's going to do it for how to generate a campaign map. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a message down below there in the comments, and I will definitely be happy to answer or elaborate on any of these comments. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and keep on gaming.